Welcome back to the Mini PC Show. This is episode 78. My name is Brian. Ask the Cable Guy as well. I'm here with the Flying Rich and Door to Door Geek. Guys, it's been a long time. What's happening?
Ooh, I was waiting for Door to go first, but since he didn't move, I'm going to go first. Well, since you've last hooked up with Flying Rich, I am at a new outpost. It's the Hughes Outpost Orlando Command.
So the South Northern Command?
Well, it's north of the Southern Command.
Gotcha. Yeah, things are okay here. I'll say weather, we've seen a lot of different weather here in the last couple weeks. Blazing heat and humidity, and right now it's actually decent out.
Yeah, I think there's another heat wave coming up soon in the North Shore. Not too much about the North, rather. Not too much about the South, where you are, Rich. I know it's always hot down there.
Yeah. Actually, a buddy of mine I was talking to, he was going to be going on a cruise, and he's like, oh, definitely, he told me one cruise out of San Juan is the best to go on if it's your first cruise, and I was checking it out. I'm like, haven't had the family vacation in a while.
Yeah, we just came back from a family vacation, actually. We went camping up in Maine. It was really nice.
Yeah, it was. See, I would definitely be into camping if it was in the 70s. What's it like in Maine right now?
It's around there. I mean, it was kind of in the 70s, 80s during the daytime and dropped like in the 60s at night. It got a little cold a couple of times.
That works. That's good then.
Yeah, the beauty about this time around, it only rained at 4 o'clock in the morning. So the rain held off pretty much during the day.
Now, don't you have a cabin up there, or your family has a cabin?
We have a trailer. I don't know how long it is. I don't remember how long it is.
As in a trailer you leave on property up there?
No, we took it with us.
Okay.
We did the cabin for a little while when we first started to camp, and it was a little too cramped for 5 people, so we ended up getting a trailer.
Yeah, and so what kind of vehicle are you towing it with?
That would be a Ford F-150.
Uh-huh. Now, is the Ford F-150 still the most popular vehicle being sold?
I'm not sure. I pretty much like it. I'd like to upgrade. I think either the 350 or 250 would be nice.
Oh, okay. You mean upgrade as in model within the Ford line?
Yeah, I'm pretty fond of the Fords. I'm not too sure why. I think it's more of the aesthetic look than anything else. I'm not a truck guy by any means, but I just like the look of them.
All right, so I got a ride today in the Kia Stinger. One of my coworkers has a 2018 Kia Stinger. And so my car is 3 years old, but the tech in the new car is so nice. It's got lane stability, adaptive cruise control, and of course backup camera. Oh, it's got front curb detectors, so if you're going to tear off your air dam, it'll warn you before you do it.
Nice. Sounds like some cool tech.
Yeah, I got tech envy again.
So what say you, Dor? You been on vacation?
Helps when I hit the mic, doesn't it?
Oh, hey.
There you are.
Yeah, sorry with that. I will say, like mini PC related and car related, tech related, Android Auto for me has been uncommonly flaky. I've had it now in 2 cars over 3 years, I want to say, and it's never been an enjoyable experience, mini computer wise and tech wise. So I don't have envy. I have, aggravation.
Oh, go.
No, I was gonna say I don't have Android Auto, so I'm kind of curious as to how different that is without some of the troubles that you're currently having with the cable and so forth. But how different that is versus having just your phone.
So Android Auto will run on your console in your car, but the problem with that is most of the time it blocks out your phone, so you can't do anything with your phone, which I kind of don't like.
And there's 2 Android Autos. There's not one. There's the in-dash Android Auto, where yes, as soon as you plug it up and it comes up on that console screen, your phone screen is dead. You can't do anything with it. And it's a limited interface to a limited set of apps with limited menu structure, because the National Transportation Highway Safety Board says you can only do so much, because then it'd be too, I don't know, whatever. So it's a limited interface. I've never had a limited interface be better than the full-blown interface.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe it's just me. The other Android Auto is you just download Android Auto, put it on your phone, and then when you're in a mount, you turn that on. That actually isn't horrible, but it's still limiting. So if you really like having a full phone available to you in your travels, then you will probably dislike Android Auto.
Okay, so here's my solution to 2 of my problems with Android Auto. First problem is my car, all of the 2015 models except the Ultimate got Android Auto as an upgrade. And I guess my head unit isn't comparable, or doesn't share product lines with other head units, so therefore it didn't get the upgrade. The 2016 version of my car did, on the Ultimate version. But again, I'm not sure I'd like it. So here's my solution is I use maps that are built in, the built-in nav. I use Waze or Google Maps on my Note 8, and Waze only works less than 1,000 miles. So if you're driving less than 1,000 miles, you're good. If you're driving greater than 1,000 miles, what I do is I have the audio off. The audio on both Waze and Maps, because Waze will give me alerts about forward highway conditions, like something on the side of the road, debris in the middle of the road, that kind of thing. And then once I get below 1,000 miles, I just turn off Google Maps and I use Waze. But the third component to when I drive in the car, and my wife thinks I'm nuts for doing this, because what'll happen is on the Note 8, Waze will die a couple of times. So pretty much on any trip I do, Waze will die at least once. So it's nice having a backup map just in case running. And on my Note 4, I'll tether it off my Note 8 for Wi-Fi, and I'll run Android Auto on my Note 8. And this way, I can do whatever maps. I can do text-to-speech for text messages, that kind of thing coming in. So this way, I don't have to, read a message that comes in.
Very good, very good. That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, I just do that on long trips. So right now, I'm working 2.5 hours north of the Hughes Compound Southern Command, and I go home every weekend. So 2.5 hours, you can ignore your phone for that period of time.
Sounds like a long commute ride to me. That's that's quite a bit of ride.
Yeah, but I go home on Friday, come back on Sunday night.
Gotcha. Hey, I just recently had a test drive in the what do you call it? The Tesla, just a couple weeks ago.
Which Tesla?
It was the Model 3.
Oh, cool. Now, the Model 3, the price range can be from what to what on that?
So this particular one was about 68,000, give or take, plus or minus some change.
Okay.
But the story was kind of weird in how I got into the driver's seat. So my son's having a birthday party, and one of his friend's dads came over and hung around for a little while. And we got to talking about tech, and comes to find out he's, an IT director for one of the local colleges here. And so I asked him, so what new tech have you bought recently? Just to see what kind of toys he's playing with. He goes, I just bought a Tesla.
Cool.
Just a couple weeks ago. I'm like, oh, great. He's like, you want to take it for a spin? Yeah, this is awesome. Absolutely. I would love it. And I have to say, by far, it was the best rides I have ever driven in a car ever in my entire life. And I've driven some pretty high-end vehicles here and there, but nothing like this. This was totally state-of-the-art.
Very cool. Now, when you say ride, are you talking about the actual ride on the road, or you're saying ride like whip?
Ride actually on the road. So the whole experience of this vehicle is totally top-notch. So just seeing the elegance of it, how clean it is, how clean the dashboard is. So just to give you an idea of the dash here. So it was just the steering wheel and a 17-inch monitor, and the whole entire dashboard was clean. No buttons or switches or knobs or levers, nothing like that. The vehicle is mint. He keeps it, just got it a couple weeks ago. So you can eat off the floor how clean it is. Nothing in the trunk, nothing in the hood. So it's just all trunk space.
Trunk and frunk?
Yeah. So as soon as he approaches the vehicle, it recognizes him through his phone or a FARB or something that he has in his pocket.
It'll do both. The phone, you need internet connectivity, and so does the car.
Yeah.
So cellular connectivity.
And that's what he was telling me. He's like, so you don't have to really.
So if you're in Death Valley.
Oh, yeah, watch out. But he's like, yeah, the car's already running. Just hit the accelerator. So I'm like, oh, it's quiet. So I squeeze push down the accelerator a little bit, and the car moves forward. But as soon as you lift your foot up from the accelerator, it comes to a halt. Like, it brakes to a halt. It doesn't just slow down, which I found very interesting. So
right, because we're used to a gasoline engine where you back off, like gasoline with automatic transmission, that if you pick your foot off the gas pedal, you're going to coast.
Exactly.
So the coast is a matter of function of your foot being in the same position, and it will add throttle as needed.
Right.
Yeah, there's a couple of concepts with, hybrids and electric cars that are a little different. So in my wife's hybrid, when we're at a light, and if you have your foot on the brake, the engine will shut down. But if you lift your foot off the brake, the electric motor will come on because you're expecting that creep even though your foot isn't on the gas.
Mm-hmm. So with the experience here, I have a hybrid, and it wasn't anything like that. It was exactly how you're describing, where you coast for a little bit, or the engine will just cut off when you're in traffic. But with this particular Model 3, there was a kind of like an arm, like a signal arm on the steering wheel. So you push it once to go forward, you push it up once to go forward, you push it down once to go in reverse. You have the backup camera on the large display screen. But if you're driving, driving down the road, if you tap it twice up, it puts the car in like a adaptive cruise control, which I actually have on one of my vehicles, and which is I love adaptive cruise control. You just take your foot off the the gas, and it'll come to a brake or whatever if the vehicle's in front of you. So what's awesome about this vehicle, the Model 3, it doesn't just sense the vehicle in front of it, but it senses the vehicle in front of that and then the next vehicle in front of that. So it kind of, it's it's pretty cool. So as I'm driving on some of the back roads, it's in adaptive cruise control and, following another vehicle, and comes to a brake when the car starts to slow down and so forth. And then he goes, let's put it in autopilot. So I'm like, are you sure? Because this is a $60,000 vehicle. I don't want to crash the thing. He's like, no, I do it all the time. So we put the thing in full autopilot, and no lie, it's driving all by itself. Hands free, feet free. I'm just sitting back and enjoying the ride. And this is on back roads. This is not like on the highway. And it's doing the turns around the curves and everything. And I'm like, this is amazing. I've never experienced this before in my life. So we get a nice, good breakaway down a long stretch of road. He's like, yeah, go ahead and give it some acceleration. Let's see how fast it is. So this thing picked up in 0 to 60 in like no time flat. There was no hesitation. No revving of the engine. It was nice, quiet. You can feel the gravity pulling you into the seat. It was just, I've never had anything like that. I was just so ecstatic, so excited. But that's my little story, and I don't want to take up too much time because I can just keep going on and on.
Yeah, I got a couple of beefs about the Tesla, and I'll try to make it brief. But you live in Massachusetts, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So Massachusetts is a right to repair state, so they have to provide the information on how to repair it. I don't know if Florida's a right to repair state, and the guy Rich Rebuilds is in Massachusetts, and he's got a YouTube channel, and he does he'll buy a couple of junk Teslas and build one out of them. The other thing is parts for the Tesla. The only place you get parts is actually from Tesla, and then finding somebody to work on them is, you got to have an authorized Tesla place do it. Right. So there's a couple of quirks with it, and my wife doesn't like going to the gas station, and that's why she has a hybrid. And I thought she should get a Tesla, and I thought, like, oh, okay, the Model 3s, there's supposed to be some... I think they're targeting $30,000. I think if the production numbers come up and the base model, blah, blah, blah. Anyhow. And I was like, wow, maybe in the future she can get a Tesla. She's like, I don't want a Tesla. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, we live in Florida. If there's a hurricane and the power's out, what are we going to do?
You know what happened the last time?
What's that?
Rich?
What?
They automatically turned every Tesla in the area into the most expensive Tesla because most of the upgrades are actually software, and
right.
They live pushed everything. It was 16 hours before it first hit land.
That was right for people to exit the Florida area to give them the extended range. And you're right, it's a software update. And I could go on and on about Tesla. Not that I'm a Tesla expert. I've watched a couple of videos. But interesting technology. I'm rooting for them to work and to be very viable and ubiquitous. Right now I'm kind of on the fence.
If I can afford one, I'd probably get one. But I definitely see what you mean by having limited resources as far as repairing the vehicle, and I'm sure the batteries. That battery replacement is extremely expensive.
Yeah, you definitely want that battery warranted, whatever, etc. You don't want to go it on your own.
Well, when you buy the Tesla, and it is transferable, the first battery replacement is at, I'm trying to remember the number of miles, but it's covered under the price, which is one of the reasons why it costs so much up front. It's like certain, I know, I want to say Bugatti and places like that, where when you buy the vehicle, you actually are also paying for X years of some type of service.
Yeah, a lot of vehicles roll that in. I know BMW has done that for a long time. The other problem with the vehicles, and most of the cars I had in fact, let me just say this: I've owned two brand new cars in my life, and they both were Genesis coupes. And the third newest car I've had was I bought a 2007 Envoy at the end of the model year with 15,000 miles on it. I do all my own automotive maintenance. My wife brings her car to the dealer. But most of my life, all of the other vehicles I've ever owned, I've probably bought two cars and built one out of them. And that's what this guy, Rich, does. But Tesla is not fond of that. So if maybe they're totaling Teslas with very little damage. So you may have a Tesla accident where all of the airbags go off, but there's, maybe a fender, a hood, and some suspension components, like it took a hit on the front left side. So nothing major is wrong with it, and maybe the battery pack is all still good. Nothing that could be dangerous got impacted. But they're not going to allow it. Like if you go to the junkyard and you bought a Tesla that was hit on the right side and you take the parts and put it together and build one car, well, Tesla, if they find out that you got a salvage car, will deactivate the supercharge feature on it and deactivate a couple other features. So while you may have the right to repair in some states, you don't necessarily get a fully functional car either.
I sense conspiracy.
So they're the Apple of car makers?
I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking the same exact thing.
And, since we haven't hit mini PC stuff, I am not buying another Apple product. I do have a MacBook Pro, and in probably the next 3 years, I will buy another laptop, and I will put Ubuntu on it, and that will be my laptop. It's not going to be a Mac.
I would definitely like to hear the story why that is.
I've been watching another YouTube channel. Is it what's the guy's name? Rothman, where he repairs Macs. Is it Joe Rothman? Anyhow, I can't remember his first name, but there is no quality in the Mac. You're paying twice as much, for the same horsepower as any brand X laptop, but there is no special sauce in it. And I'm just not. Apple is not getting my money in the future.
True. That always didn't used to be the case, though. There used to be a lot of quality.
Louis Rothman, that's the guy.
Well, there's a lot of Macs with the ARM co-processor.
The newer Macs, yeah.
And so they're not. I mean, it isn't like you can go buy any hardware and run it. It is its own thing, which is their design. But it is all just normal crap. I'll say that.
Yeah, unless there's something crazy good about the future Macs, the version 2 with the ARM processor, I don't know. There would have to be some compelling reason for me to, change my mind.
Well, I'll just put it like this. I do not like them as a company or anything at all. Like 10 years ago, I said that they were going to die because of their computer sales were plumbing and everything. And if there was no such thing as an iPhone, maybe I would have been right, but I was completely wrong. But they have enough. Mini PCs have taught me one thing. Hardware is only half of the experience. The other half is how well crafted are the drivers, are the operating system, the software. As a company, they have enough money to completely build a completely isolated software stack with all kinds of tools on it, and have it be insanely snappy, fast, and quick for the money of the hardware. It's possible in 3 years they're going to release something that is complete custom stack. You're not going to be able to run too many third-party vendor software on it at all, and they're just going to own the complete experience and charge you monthly fees for everything and become even richer.
So one of the big downers for me on the Mac, and all right, I got a 2012 MacBook Pro, and I'm looking at the left side. So there's the MagSafe connector. There's two DisplayPort. Not is it DisplayPort? It's crap. Lightning, Thunderbolt, whatever.
Thunderbolt, yeah.
Two Thunderbolt connectors. There's a USB 3 on the left side and a earbud microphone jack. On the right side is another USB 3, so there's only two on the computer. There's the HDMI port and then the SD card slot. So if they put one or two, if I had a total of 3 or 4 USB jacks on here, I would be very happy. But the new Macs, the 2017s to 2018s, they don't even have an SD card slot. So if you're a photographer, you've got to get some hinky thing to jack it in, which to me that was one of the things. It's like I got a DSLR backpack. I slide my laptop in. I've done this. I've been out, hiking in the snow and wanted to see the images. I pull out the laptop and I take a look. But if you're not going to give me that, and if you're going to make it more incompatible to use, I'm not in. If I have to get like some dock that slaps onto the side that gives me all of the ports I'm going to want, and I don't even think they have an HDMI port on it now, on the future, or the current 2017, 2018s, I should say.
That's a shame. It really is.
So you're really, you got to buy some port replicator, port expander, whatever device. And look at the price they're getting. I should have at least an SD card slot, at least an HDMI port, and yeah, I'm just not digging it. Anyhow, so who's mini PCing and what are they up to?
Well, I have some I told you so news. A while back, I purchased the H96 Pro Plus Android TV box. Now, this wasn't the OS that had the lean back version of the Android TV. It was the kind of like the tablet version of the Android TV. You could connect the box to your TV and get 4K audio. 4K video. I was using it in my kitchen. It was great. I had apps, for the kids and homework and stuff like that. The thing just died, and I don't know if I had it even for 2 years. It just slowly started going, and I finally was like, you know what? I had enough of this thing. I'm going to put it a regular Android TV box. I think I got the Mi box I had tucked away on another TV that wasn't being used, and I just moved it over into the kitchen. It's been sunshine days ever since.
So, how much was this box that you retired?
This was like $84 I spent.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was up there.
Oh, so it wasn't. I'm thinking like it's a $30 AliExpress type thing.
No, I spent quite a bit of money. This is the one with the Amlogic 912 64-bit octa-core processor.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good.
Yeah, it does sound good. I mean, it was great right off the gate. I'd say the first 9-8 months was doing really good, and then you get would lock up. Like, oh, just reboot it. It's fine. Then lock up again. Oh, just reboot it. Then would lock up, and the reboots just wasn't fixing it.
Sounds like the head unit on my Genesis Coupe lately.
Oh. But word to the wise. Oh, you know what? Actually, I had another Android TV box that I put in its place before I put the Mi box in, and that was a similar experience. This one I've never used. I maybe used it once or twice. So I figured, let's replace it with this one, just so we can get the mouse and keyboard experience for the kids. And it just wasn't working out. It was just not a good situation. So, like I said, as soon as I put the Mi box in, comes with a remote control, you get the lean back experience. So I'm done with the old tablet Android TV boxes. No more. You're not getting my money.
And is the reason, so now I've had a similar experience with older computers. I'm like, oh, that should be still useful. And the reason it's not still useful is there's so much crap payloaded into a web page if you're using it for browsing that it takes a supercomputer to render a web page right now. But I wouldn't have thought that would have been the issue with, say, a legacy Android box, because you're doing video, you're selecting video sources with it, unless they're at a higher higher resolution and it's tougher for the processor to keep up.
I don't know. I think it might be something to do with the cheap flash that they're using.
Got old and flaky.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of.
But I was thinking that it might have been the NAND that was the issue.
Yeah, but word to the wise, folks that are listening, don't waste your money.
Well, I mean, I've had a couple people ask me about Android set-top boxes, and it's like, I try to be as honest as possible. First, I have to ask questions. If they say, what's the best box? Well, what are you trying to watch is the first question. And, whether it be YouTube, Hulu, stuff over Samba, whether it be pirated torrents, or I don't even, really, there's only one answer. If you insist on having a good experience using it, and that is the NVIDIA Shield TV box. Everything else is like compensate. You're like making compromises. It does not run as well. Now, with that said, you can get good experiences for around $100, but yeah, I do believe anything less than $100, the hardware is so cheap, it's literally going to wear out, and it's just wear leveling on either the RAM or the NAND or whatever, and it just decides to give up the ghost, or even the Wi-Fi might be acting up. It's hard to tell, but all the cheap stuff is cheap for a reason.
Yeah, I fully agree with that. Now, for those who aren't familiar with the Mi Box, I think it's spelled M-I Box, V-O-X. That's made by Xiaomi, and Walmart's actually still selling those. I mean, it got the latest and greatest update from Google, and I think I picked it up around $60+, which was pretty decent, I thought, at the time.
Yeah, and I think it dropped maybe like $10 everywhere, like maybe a month and a half ago. So you can get it for like high 40s, low 50s.
Wow, even better.
I've heard good things about it, but it's still, to me, it's like Android Auto. It's a limited experience with Android, and I typically don't want limiting experiences.
I agree. There's some gotchas. So what I found out is it doesn't have an Ethernet port. So I figured, I want to go Ethernet. I like Wi-Fi, but if I'm streaming video, I'd rather have Ethernet if I can. So I put a external Ethernet USB adapter on it, and the video streaming was horrendous. It was horrible. Choppy, cutting in and out. I'm like, what's going on? This should be at least 100 meg, Come to find out, the bus speed for the USB is a little bit different, obviously, for the Wi-Fi card, the Wi-Fi chipset, and my Wi-Fi experience was 10 times better than my USB experience.
Well, that's interesting because if you're here's the problem. You're probably USB 2. I hope you're not USB 1.1 standard on that. But if your device is USB 3.0, you can get gigabit. Boy, why can't I talk? Gigabit Ethernet speeds off of that.
I think it's 2.0, but I think they're doing something with that USB port, because I've tried 3 different models of USB adapters, USB Ethernet adapters, and they were all doing the same thing. So I did some digging. Okay.
And in case anybody out there is interested, like if they have a Pi-type device with a USB 3.0 port and they're looking for gigabit Ethernet, the Amazon Basics gig Ethernet, USB 3 to gig Ethernet, is a very good deal.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, if you're shopping for stuff, definitely on Amazon, definitely check the Amazon Basics as an option.
Yeah, I enjoy the Amazon Basics. I bought a few things.
Definitely HDMI cables.
Yes. Actually, you know what? I did get some shorter HDMI cables from them, but I get HDMI cables for free from my work. So, but they have the longer ones. I needed some shorter ones at the time. But aside from my Android TV woes, I do agree with you, Dor. The NVIDIA Shield is the best experience for Android TV, the lean back experience for Android TV. But if you're not a gamer, you don't really particularly care about gaming, and you want to spend a little less money, I think the next runner-up would be something like the Mi Box, or something, a device that's similar to that. I don't think the Mi Box does very well with gaming. So if you're going to try to run some light games, you're not going to have a good experience, but you'll have a way better experience on the Android TV box from NVIDIA.
The bestest, cheapest Android TV box is the Amazon Fire Stick.
Ah, you think so, huh? You like the Fire Stick?
Yeah, you can sideload apps into it also.
Yeah, I was going to get the Fire Stick for a while, and I'm like, you know what? I have the Mi Box, I have my Chromecast on like almost every other TV. Like, what would I do with the Fire Stick? I already get the apps on the actual boxes on the Android TV box. So I'm like, what would I do with the Fire Stick?
Well, and if you're already populated, fine. I'm not trying to push a Fire Stick. But my theory is... it's probably impossible to buy a dumb TV right now, but I'd rather just buy a dumb TV and plug smart devices into it, because as the devices age, I can get a new Chromecast or a new Fire Stick and toss the old one. Whereas if I have some sort of flaw in my smart TV, whether it's built-in Roku or whatever it may be, you're not getting a new one of those.
Right.
And you might just be annoyed with it. And I've had the conversation again today. It's kind of like having that smart refrigerator with the BSOD. And for those of you people that aren't Windows out there, blue screen of death. But yeah, I'm more into dumb devices and me adding my own a la carting my own intelligence into it.
I have to agree with you, Rich, 100%.
And I'll compare it to the 1970s stereo, when you had the component stereo. My father always bought the all-in-one, like the all-in-one laser printer, scanner, fax. And basically what you're getting is the bargain basement on everything. No individual part of it is going to be excelling to be good, because you're getting a bargain hunter. It's not, when you bought the individual tuner, the individual amplifier, the individual turntable, its merits had to be, for that individual device, had to be good. And same thing, like with my smart TV, which I don't know if it's 4 years old now, the Wi-Fi card isn't that good in it. And until I put the mesh networking in, I would use the Roku, the external Roku device, to get Plex or whatever, where there was a Plex app on the TV, but the Wi-Fi signal, the reception wasn't as good on the TV as it was on the Roku.
Gotcha.
So, maybe the antenna wasn't as good, or the amplification on the Wi-Fi, because realistically for FCC certification, you have to use a limited supply, because there's always a daughter card in devices for Wi-Fi, and this way there's approval for a small number of devices, and otherwise you would have had to get approval for each individual device. But it might be, the metal in the TV or the placement of the antenna or what, and it was just no good.
Yeah, I find that to be common when you try to do too much with your product. It just it's kind of mediocre across the board, like you said.
Right.
So before I continue and ramble on, you guys got any other mini PC stuff you want to talk about?
All sorts of mini PC stuff.
Shoot.
So, let's see. Dor will copiously put this in the show notes. But I did a video, and I got a mailbag of stuff, and from an anonymous, I have trouble saying an anonymous benefactor, I got a Rock Pro 64, and after I do a full review and play with it, I'm going to be giving it away to a mini PC listener.
Now that sounds awesome.
Yep. Yeah, so very cool. Like I said, I've only smoke tested it. I powered it up, did a couple of things with it. Unfortunately, my free time has been at a super minimum right now. And, I'm dying to get into that a little more. And actually, on Tilts earlier today, somebody asked me, hey, how's Ansible and mini PCs going? And I'm assuming he was asking in connection to the Docker swarm that I was working on. And yeah, I kind of unplugged it and it's sitting on the shelf. So, because I moved from Jackson, Michigan back, most of that gear went back to my office at the Hughes Compound Southern Command. And I'm only there on the weekends, so I'm always playing Honeydew catch-up when I get back.
Gotcha. Well, one link I'm going to make sure is in the notes. It's to the Rock Pro 64 download page. Reason that one's going to be in the notes, line 709. Which one are you trying? Because this board is literally brand new, I'm kind of shocked at the number of software for it. Typically, you have 2, maybe 3 choices, but for the Rock Pro, you have Debian, Stretch, Ubuntu with LXDE, Ubuntu Minimal, Containers, Arch, Open Media Vault, Libra Elect, BSD images. And then it looks like one Android 7.1.2, which is fine. That's actually pretty good for a brand new board. So I'm going to guess you went with Ubuntu?
Yes, I did. And so when you're doing this, when you're downloading, just to make sure you do it right, in the name it should say Rock Pro 64, because there is the Rock 64, so you got to watch out for that. So make sure whatever image you're downloading says Rock Pro 64.
Oh, and then here's the stupid question. Etcher, Pine 64 company has a specific custom distributed version of Etcher.io, where you can burn the images, and right through the interface you can select different pieces of hardware. Did they offer you that downloader?
How did I do it? I gotta look. I just, as you were saying it, I'm firing up my Etcher.
Yeah, because I know I downloaded it for the Rock 64, and I used it on at least one of the other Pine boards I have. So it'd be nice if they just integrated it in like that. It would be much easier to select different versions of operating systems and download.
I believe I selected Rock 64 as my device, as my project board, because the version of Etcher I have doesn't have the Rock Pro 64. And then I did a file browse to the image I downloaded, and that's how I burned it onto the microSD.
Gotcha. Yeah, I have. I'm guessing it might be an older version of that application. Looks like version 2.0. And it has Rock 64, but nothing for Rock Pro 64.
Correct.
Try.
Yeah, so I've got 2.0 beta 3.
I don't have a Rock 64 to test it on.
Yeah, so any new board is always a little, again, I don't know if Diet Pie has an OS for it, because that's what I go to first.
Well, it's still pretty new, so it wouldn't shock me if they don't.
Yeah, under Diet Pie, they just have Pine A64 and the Rock 64 listed. Ooh, I want to mention something. So Nick Merritt, who's a friend of mine through the Linux Link Tech Show, mentioned just as I was jumping off the show, he's doing something cool with his Raspberry Pi, and he's hooking it to a generator. And so that is it's right now line 709. So this is a GitHub project, and I can't go into too much depth because I just read it a few minutes before I jumped on the show here. So it looks like it's designed to be generic to work with a number of different generators, and it has like IoT capabilities. So you can do MQTT SMS notification. The MQTT is so that if you have something like Home Automation Assistant, it'll work with that. So it's called GenMon, a generating monitoring application using Raspberry Pi and Wi-Fi. And it says this project will monitor and back up a generator that uses the Generac Evolution or Nexus controllers over a Wi-Fi wired connection. Generac, Eaton, Honeywell, and Siemens home backup generators use these Generac controllers. So it works with that subset of devices, and I've been looking more into it. Other people have been doing YouTube projects where they're taking things like your pool pump and connecting it to Wi-Fi. The one guy, oh boy, I'm not going to remember his name now. He always has an orange background on his YouTube channel. He had wireless connectivity, from branded wireless connectivity to his pool pump and the, integrated controls. And the controller went bad, and it was going to be hundreds of dollars to replace it. And he ended up hooking up, I think it was like an ESP286, whatever those Wi-Fi on-chip type devices were, and mimicking the control interface of the push buttons. And he wrote Node-RED code and had it all running and integrated into his system and Wi-Fi controllable.
Oh, I know that guy. The Hookup, I think his channel's called.
Yes, that's it, the Hookup. And I am completely jealous because his channel isn't so old, and he's got like a huge following. He does a good job, and when I say jealous, I'm jealous in only the nicest way. But yeah, definitely good stuff on there. So if he's not necessarily a Raspberry Pi guy, but this stuff can be applicable to a Raspberry Pi if you're, in that area. But he's using all of these other low-price devices for doing wireless connectivity.
Yes, he definitely knows his stuff. He's, as they say in the Bostonian area, he's wicked smart.
Oh yeah, and definitely good video. high quality, and good projects.
Yeah, I think you guys sent me a clip on them. I think it was the pool one, actually. The pool video that where you can add Wi-Fi to your pool pump, and it was a pretty good video. He's actually pretty good.
Because right now my pool pump is the mechanical wheel that rotates, and I would love to do some automation because what has happened, I have cameras around my house, and I can see, usually what I do is I check in to make sure the pool's working correctly. And what had happened the last week I was gone is the water level dropped in the pool, and it unported, the water level went below the skimmer, and the pump was just sucking air. So in that case, I'd love to be able to turn the pump off because I don't want it running dry because you can damage the pump.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's another feature. One of the colleges down here in Florida did a study that if instead of running your pool pump for like 8 hours, you could run it 3 times a day for like 2 hours each time, and it would actually be better. So a little bit of energy efficiency. And as, with the heat and UV, as the sun times in the summer, I could write a program that would increase the runtime in the summer and decrease it in the winter, because that's one of the things I manually do.
So how often during the day?
It was something that if it was better to run it 3 times a day as opposed to continuously for a number of hours, and you could decrease nearly 50% the runtime based on that.
Yeah, absolutely. I would. I need to look into that because I do run my pump a lot during the day.
And do you have a built-in pool or an above-ground pool?
It's above ground.
And I've never heard of this being done, but I have had exactly one pool my entire life, and it's the pool on the house we have now, and it's a saltwater pool, and the saltwater pools are frickin' stable like you wouldn't believe.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, we have a saltwater pool as well too, and it's the pump is on a timer, so I don't have to touch it when it goes off and on. But I definitely would like to run it a lot less if I could.
Yeah, it probably sucks a lot of power. And so you have the little, they call it a chlorinator, but it's really like a Hoffman apparatus hooked up to the pool.
Yeah, it's the salt generator.
Chlorine generator, yeah.
Oh, chlorine generator. I'm sorry. Yes, you add salt to the pool and it generates the chlorine through the Aquatrol, I think it's called, something like that.
So for those of you that missed high school chemistry, salt is sodium chloride, and if you pass it through electric plates with a charge, you can break the bond between the sodium and the chlorine, and you have chlorine, and it continuously chlorinates your pool. The good thing about that is the salt, the 40-pound bags of salt you drop in your pool, are cheaper than buying chlorine. And as far as a chemical and handling chlorine, it can be a pain in the butt. And, if you're hauling it all the time and have leaks, it can rust out your trunk or your bed of your truck, those kinds of things. So there's a couple of pluses to it, but I don't know if the pool, and this is, again, I have a testing sample of 1, and that's my pool, and I'm no genius when it comes to pools, but it just seems to me that the salt in the water, and it's not like salty like the ocean, definitely keeps the stability of the pool much better.
Wow. You're wicked smart too. No, I agree. I agree with that. I did, however, watch, I don't know what channel this was. It was a channel on YouTube about how bad pools are as far as like trying not to get sick. Like they're like a giant petri dish when it comes to germs, and you do really have to keep on top of your pool chemistry. It's just so you're not spreading germs throughout the neighborhood. And make sure people take a shower before you get in the pool, because you'd be amazed on some of the stuff that's on your body.
So, and that's the funny thing. Like, I've heard a couple of people say things like that recently, and I'm like, well, the gears started going in my head. And they're like, I will not go in a public pool. I will not go in a pool. Only pool I'll go in is my own pool. And I'm like, oh. And I'm thinking about all the water parks I've been to. And now, there were 2 divorce level fights on the purchase of the house, and one was a pool, and I lost, and we ended up buying a house with a pool. And what I said is, your dad had a very nice house with a very nice pool with a very nice cabana that several people could have lived in, and nobody ever went in it. Guess how many times in the last, or 2018, let me just say, my wife and daughter have been in my pool?
How many? You can count on your hand, I bet.
0.
Oh, no way.
I can live stream you video of what my pool looks like. It's gorgeous. They have not been in the pool this year.
Now that is a shame.
But if we rolled up to Orlando and went to a hotel, do you know what would happen?
What's that?
They'd throw on their bathing suits and jump in the hotel pool.
It's like a slap in the face.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I have to say, I bought the house with the pool. If it broke tomorrow, I wouldn't be sad.
Well, and that's so and I'm not bragging, Brian. I got a couple of pluses on you. I'm assuming. One, in Florida, the pools are screened in, so nothing falls in the pool. So you don't have that kind of debris.
Right.
And do you have a vac running around?
I don't. I've been told I need to get a robot, and I've been pricing them out to see which one's the better ones to get. My some friends of mine just picked up a decent one, climbs the walls and all that stuff. They have an above ground pool. As a matter of fact, I think it's the same size as mine. And they're pushing me to get it.
So I'm pretty sure what I have is a Haywood, and I'm pretty sure the people that made the parts for the Haywood have a Haywood clone. So I would definitely look around on Amazon and see if there's like a Haywood clone out there. Because I'm pretty sure I've seen it.
10-4.
And it was like half as much.
Yeah, I'll definitely take a look at it.
Alrighty, so who's mini PCing here? What do we got?
Dora, you're up next.
Well, I mean, I'll just talk about real quick. In our Google Plus community, we had a guy post a link, Stephen Ward, to a video of him and his daughter putting together a o-droid Go. And I did get an o-droid Go as well myself. By far, easily the best $30 I've spent on mini computers ever, because it actually gets used. My kids like it. My youngest one definitely enjoys playing Tetris. It just works, and it's literally $30-something. I want to say after expedited shipping, I paid $40-something for it, maybe $44. Right now, it's on back order. So if you go to buy one today, I think you're gonna have to wait almost a month. But I think it's a really cool piece of hardware. I'm tempted, though, Rich. You'll get this. I'm tempted to take out, because you literally build it. I'm tempted to take out the buttons, the directional pad and the 2 buttons, and try to design them, which of course I can't, and then print them out in TPU.
Yeah, sure.
Would that work?
Oh yeah.
Well, could work.
What kind of material is that?
TPU is closer to being like gel-like phone case material. It's like has some give to it.
Okay. This is a pretty awesome kit. I think, my kids would love this.
Well, I'll say this: it is insane. Okay, literally $36, 10+ hour battery life. You literally put it together. The kids can put it together. I can put it together. Kids can put it together. If I can put it together, anybody can put it together. You put it together. You download the image, and then after you boot to it, you can pull the SD card out, put games in it. Right there's a folder called ROMs. You just go right there, put all the games you want in it, put the card back in, turn it on. When you turn it on, a very simplified menu to the main emulators. Once you go into the emulator, right, left jumps entire pages at a time, so you can jump through 40 games really quickly without taking forever. Hit the button, it launches the game. When you hit the menu button at top, it exits the game and creates a save state automatically. And then you hit the power button, instant off, instant on, because it's a ESP266 processor in it. It's a very low processor, hence you get 10 hours of battery life out of it, and it just runs fine. Good. All the NES games, all the Game Boy games just run like they should.
That is just nutty cool. I've seen it, and I haven't really thought much about it because I'm kind of anti-gaming because I'm a recovering gamer. But I'm wondering if my daughter would like that.
I'll say this. Any kid today will like it just for the opportunity to see what games used to be like. Even though they might not like the games, they might like, to see what it's like, and then, maybe not touch it again. But my youngest, because it's Tetris. I mean, come on, it's Tetris. It's like a drug. There's been scientific studies on the things that happen to your brain after you play Tetris. That it's freaking Tetris.
That is cool, and I didn't realize. I kind of looked at the product, gaming, and I didn't think much more.
Yeah, I mean, I bought, Nano Pies. I've bought Raspberry Pis. I've bought Zeros. I've bought Neos. I've bought all of them. Zotex. Best bang for the buck. Getting used right now. That o-droid Go is getting hammered. The kids like to play it, and to me, that's worth the weight in gold.
I'm definitely sending massive love to o-droid. Brian, you got an HC1, HC2. Which one did you get?
I recently picked up the HC2, which is the bigger model of the two.
3.5-inch drive.
Yes.
Now, I'm kind of shocked at how reasonably priced these are.
Yeah, I was shocked too. I was looking at some other different devices. I think there was the, I can't remember off the top of my head. It was like a NAS model. You know what? It was the, I'm not going to waste time. It was just, by the time I got the SBC and the case and the power supply and some other options I wanted to go with it, the price was like $300 or more. And I'm scratching my head. I'm like, this doesn't add up, with shipping and handling and all that stuff. And then I saw the HC2. I'm like, why didn't I get this to begin with in the first place? I would have been better off.
All right, so at Ameridroid, the HC2 is $54.95 for those that are droid curious. Now, the o-droid XU4, so there's a couple of differences. It's mostly the same as the o-droid XU4. Now, the difference between it, the o-droid XU4 at Ameridroid is $61.95. The difference is you don't have a fan. It's on one huge heatsink. You don't have an HDMI port, and you don't have the USB 3.0 ports. You do have, I guess it's a USB 2.0 port, and you have a Cat5 cabling port and a SATA port. And the SATA speed is off, I believe, the USB 3.0 bus. So it's pretty quick. It's like 90% of full SATA speed. So you're definitely getting good transfer rates.
You have SATA 3, I believe.
Yes. Yeah, the transfer rates are, I would say 400 and above.
Now, I was running Diet Pi on mine, and I'm not sure if there was a mistake as far as temperature goes, but it was showing that the temperature was high, and my data center drawer got retired, and I now have a data center in I'm not sure what I'm going to call it, and I have a fan, a 100 millimeter fan suspended above, whatever Pi device is in the drawer. And that's where I have it right now. So the fan so it's kind of upside down. The fins are up, and they're pointing towards the fan that's blowing down on it. But super huge heatsink, but based on the numbers in it being at idle, I'm assuming Diet Pi wasn't reading the temperature or calculating the temperature correctly on the particular version I was using of Diet Pi. So let me just specify all of those things. And again, I'm only slightly better than a smoke test on my o-droid HC1, which I meant to order an HC2, but I ended up with the HC1, and I just bought a laptop drive at Costco, and it was like a 4 terabyte laptop drive, and it was just super cheap. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, the other difference between the two boards is the amount of power that goes out through the SATA port.
So the HC1 being a laptop drive, you only need a 5-volt power supply. The HC2 being a 3.5-inch drive, you need a 12-volt power supply. So different power supplies for the different boards. And thanks for pointing that out.
Yeah, I ended up installing Open Media Vault on the HC2, and it's worked out pretty good so far.
Yeah, I'm probably going to do Open Media Vault on mine, of course, me with the Diet Pi. I've got a Diet Pi it up. And I'm probably going to use that as a bridge device because my o-droid XU4 that's doing all of my Plex, etc. at home got orphaned. It was so I'm running Diet Pi, but it was, I forget what version of Diet Pi where they basically stopped and you had to go to the new version and you couldn't just upgrade. So I've been doing
148 or 149.
Yeah, I think that's right. So I've just been doing, apt updates on it.
Yeah, I think there's a YouTube channel explaining computers. I think they've got a decent video on the HC2 and the HC1.
Yeah, I don't remember if it was him or not. Oh man, I think I want to say it was him. About 2 or 3 videos ago, he was talking about I/O, and when I was watching the video, I know how a disk works, and he was doing something incorrectly. He was saying something incorrectly about file speeds. Because there's 2 basic types of speeds you can do with disk I/O. One is you have one like 20 gig file. The other is you have 20 billion 1K files that equal 20 gig. You know what I mean? The same amount. And you copy both of them because you will get completely different speeds based upon the file size. And he did not realize that. And I want to say in the last video he did, which might have been the HC2 one, he did correct himself like moving forward. So we all, no matter our age, because I get the impression he's probably older than me. We all are learning new stuff every day. And when I watch his videos, I will say I do learn stuff. I did like his HC1, HC2 videos. He does good breakdowns, even though he doesn't clip his nails.
I didn't notice that one.
I didn't notice that. It's funny.
I did. I'm just sitting there thinking, clip your nails, man. But I digress.
But yeah, I gotta say, much love for the o-droid.
Yeah, I mean, Raspberry Pi is still the sweetheart of the dance, but o-droid and Pine 64 to me are doing really good. Next thing, the people who made Chip went out of business. Now there's rumblings that somebody bought up, I want to say, remaining stock branded as Chip, and they've been selling it on Alibaba. But I want to say that they're trying to make some kind of comeback. I will say I think we need more companies doing this kind of stuff. Friendly arm and stuff that, I think they're good for what they are. The best thing about some of the off-brand ones is the price. But if you want good quality, man, o-droid and Pine and Raspberry Pi are the three right now top.
Yeah, now that we have Pi Zero Ws, I'm finding it hard to say, oh yeah, the Orange Pi W, Orange Pi Zero W is what to go for. Like, yeah, no.
But yeah, the only downside about the Pi Zero is, can people get their hands on it?
Yeah, that's a tough one. So, when I was working in Michigan, I'd cruise by Detroit every once in a while where there was a Micro Center, and I'd pick one up or two up. So the only thing, all right. So if I've soured people with the Orange Pi Zero, the only good thing about the Orange Pi Zero is it's a quad core, where the Pi Zero Zero W is a single core, not a quad core. So for some apps, that may be important to you.
All right, guys, I got to call it a night.
Alrighty, Dor, we missed you. I missed you too, Brian.
Yeah, it's been good. I gotta keep doing this on a regular basis. It's been too long, too far a few in between time frames. I got so much to talk about.
Absolutely. And if people want to know first thing about the giveaway, Rich, where should they go for that information?
Well, I'm always posting on flyingrich.com, so you can take a look over there for what's going on, but I'll definitely announce it on the show before I do it.
Very cool, very cool. And Brian, if people want to catch up with you,
they can hit me up at Google Plus. You can find me at the Mini PC. Gosh, I draw a blank. I'm sorry. The Mini PC link over at the Google at the Google Plus page. You can find me at AskTheCableGuy or send me an email.
and now that you say that, I'm not sure I have that link in the notes, but that link should be by the top of the notes to go to that community. There's more than just us posting stuff there, and there's once in a while some really cool stuff like this o-droid Go video. And then I will say, if you check out his public facing stuff, he did post another at least picture where they took the o-droid Go back apart and they painted the inside of the case like a nice pretty pink color for his daughter, and I thought that looked awesome. So yeah, I'm gonna fix the notes with that, and with that we will definitely talk to everyone again in about a week.